Hello everybody, and today we're going to be working on some underarm throwing. Now, if you haven't done the warm-up exercises yet, go ahead and stop the video, do your warm-up exercises, and then come on back and start the video again. Okay, after our underarm throwing, we'll end with some stretches that I also have listed on the lesson there. Okay, it's always nice to end your activity with lessons. It helps cool the body down, make sure your muscles stay flexible, and helps reduce the chances of injury. Now, before we get started, a couple things I want to go over, and I've mentioned it before: safety, safety, and safety. Okay, it's very important. Number one, find a little bit of space around you. Okay, a little bit of space in front of you, a little bit of space in back of you, and a little bit of space on the sides of you. Okay. Secondly, please make sure that you have an adult with you. Okay, whether it's your mom, your dad, your grandma, your grandpa, another adult that lives with you. That way they can make sure that you're being safe, you're not too close to anything, you're not going to break anything or knock anything over. Okay? Since we are going to be working on underarm throwing, a few things you can use. Okay? First, you can use a ball, if you have a ball. Okay? Again, please make sure you're being safe. Okay? If you're too close to something that you can break, probably don't want to use a ball. Okay? Another choice you can have: a small stuffed animal. Okay? If it's kind of roundish like this one, it'll work just fine. Okay? If you don't have that, you can take some socks, okay? Roll them up, roll, and turn them into a ball. And now I can use this as my ball for underarm throwing. And the last choice, if you don't have any of those, take a piece of paper, crumple it up, and now this will be your ball for the day. Okay, so whichever one you have, anything that you have at home that you can use that's about a ball size, as round as it can possibly be, and that you can use safely inside your house without knocking anything or breaking anything. Okay, when we are tossing, we don't want to throw it up too high, we don't want to hit the ceiling or lights, or in my house I have a fan right here, don't want to knock that out. Don't want to hit anything on the walls or tables or around us, okay? So just try to make sure you have some space and try to find something that you can use safely in your home, okay? Now for underarm throwing, for those of you who don't know, underarm throwing, you want to keep your hand below the waist, okay? So this is about my waist right here. So I want to try to keep my hand down below it, okay? As I'm throwing my ball today, okay, you can use either hand, and sometimes we're going to be using two hands. Okay, as long as it's under that waist, that's underarm throwing. So for right now, we're going to start with whichever hand you like better. I'm just going to toss it up and catch it with two hands, just like that. Okay, nice and easy. As you do it, make sure you are keeping your eye on whatever ball you're using as you catch it, and watch it land in your two hands. Now, I've told you guys before, if you've had me before, if you mess up, that's okay. Just pick it up, try again. Okay, the whole point of this is to practice. Okay, it doesn't matter how many mistakes you make, as long as you keep practicing, that's how you're going to get better at it. So I'm still tossing and catching. Okay, once you've got the hang of that, now for some of you, it's not your good hand, I want you to try the other hand, tossing it and catching it. Okay? Most of us are really good at one hand, but not so good at the other hand. That's okay. Okay, I like to use my right hand more than my left hand, but I still want you to practice on both sides. Okay, so we're going to toss it and catch it for a few tries on each side, just like that. Once you've done that a little bit, now we're going to go back to the first hand that we were using, and this time when you toss it and catch it, I want you to toss it and catch it with one hand. So I'm going to toss it and catch it with the same hand. Okay, so my other hand is not doing anything, just keeping my eye on it as I catch it. We'll do this for a few tries. After you've done that for a few tries, switch it to the other hand, and I'm going to toss it and catch it with this hand. Okay, nice and easy. You don't have to toss it too high. Number one, you don't want to hit your roof, your ceiling, I should say. And number two, the higher you toss it, the harder it is to catch. Okay, so we don't need to toss too high. You can see I'm just tossing it about up to my eye level. Okay, now I'm going to switch the ball here. Try using my socks here. Okay, still going to be tossing it with one hand and catching it with one hand, but now I'm going to do opposites. So I'm going to toss it with this hand and catch it with this hand. Okay, as I toss it, I'm going to toss it a little bit across my body so that it goes to the other side. And then I catch it. Not too hard. That way I don't bump anything. And I can still catch it with my hands. Okay, tossing and catching, both sides, back and forth. All right. Now, for those of you who need a little bit more of a challenge, okay, we can try a few different things. This time, when we toss our ball, okay, again, please don't toss it too high. Don't want to knock anything or hit anything in your house. Okay, when I toss it, I'm going to go for a clap before I catch it. So I'm going to toss, clap, 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 clap. I can switch to the other hand, toss, clap, toss, clap, toss, clap. Okay, I can do it where I'm doing it back and forth. So I'm tossing with this hand, clapping, catching with this hand. Toss, clap. Just like that. Okay. If you can do 2 claps, do 2 claps. Now, if you see when I'm catching it, I'm using my hands to catch it. Try practicing catching with your hands. Sometimes I know I see some kids when they catch it, they're trying to catch it in their body like this. So they're going to toss it up and they gotta catch it and push it against their body. Okay? I want you to practice getting used to catching it with your hands. Because as you get older, as you get taller, as you get bigger, as the ball gets harder, as the ball gets faster, it's going to hurt if you catch it in close to your body like this. Okay, so when you're tossing and catching, try to catch it with your hands only. Don't use your body to catch it. Okay? Now, we're going to try a couple more different ways here. I'm going to switch my ball again to this ball right here. Okay, so now I'm going to get down on a knee. Okay, just one knee, whichever knee you want. If you want, which I'm going to do, you can take a towel, fold it up, and then put it on the ground. Depending on what kind of floor you have, yeah, you might feel better. Now, it's hard to tell on this one, but I am on one knee up. I'm just going to toss and catch. Same thing. I can do it with 2 hands first to start with. Okay? And then I can also do it with 1 hand on one side. I can do it with 1 hand on the other side. Okay. I can switch back and forth. Okay. Once you get used to that, you can switch to the other knee. Okay, see, sometimes one knee is easier or harder than another knee, so I want you to try both sides. Okay? But keep doing that underarm toss and catch, keeping that arm down below the waist as you throw it. Okay, remember, it's underarm throwing is what we're working on right now. That's what I want you to be practicing. Okay, so underarm throwing with your ball. All right? Once you get the hang of that, next one's slightly more trickier. 2 knees, okay? 2 knees on the ground as I'm tossing it underhand. Catching it, you can do it with a clap like we were doing earlier. Okay. Still don't want to toss it up too high. Alright, we'll practice that for a little bit. Now, I'm going to move this down a little bit lower so it's easier for you to see here. Okay, now we're going to go sitting down on the ground. But before I do that, let me switch balls. Just so I can show you that you can use any ball that you have at home or anything that's like a ball. So now I'm sitting down on the ground here. Same thing. Okay, I could start with the 2 hands. I could do it with the 1 hand like I was doing earlier, or the other side. Remember, I want you to practice with both sides, right and left, right and left. That way, you get better at throwing and catching on both sides. Okay, you can do it with a clap. Okay, so try it a lot of different ways. Practice each one for a few throws, 5, 10, 15 throws each. That way you get practice on all of them. Okay, and then if you want to pause the video and go back and practice them again, you're okay to do that one. Okay, next, last thing here before we end this here, I'm going to stand back up, move my towel out of the way. Oh, let me put this back up here. so that you can sort of see a little bit better. There you go. Okay, I'm gonna toss, try to touch. Now this one is up to you depending on how much space you have and how fast you are, okay? So if you feel like you can't do it, that's okay, you can change it around. So the choices are shoulders, you can do waist, you can do knees, I'm touching my knees right now, or you can do toes, I'm touching my toes, that's why you can't see me, okay? When you toss your ball, you're gonna touch one of those. You can touch your shoulders, you can touch your waist, your knees, or your toes. And then you're gonna try to catch it before the ball hits the ground. Okay, so underarm toss, up, touch, whichever one you choose, and then try to catch it. Okay, so I'm gonna go with shoulders, shoulders. Okay, if I think I can do shoulders, or I practice shoulders and I've done it a few times, I can try waist. Okay, if I think I got the hang of that, I can try knees. Whoa, almost missed that one. All right. And then if I think I got the hang of that, I can do the toes at the bottom here. Let's see. Whoa, got it. All right, so you can try those different ones. Like I said, pick which one you can do. Okay, if you think you can do the shoulders, then do the shoulders. If you think you can do the waist, do the waist. But please remember, safety, safety, safety. Okay, I don't want you tossing the ball up too high, hitting the ceiling, hitting the lights, hitting a fan or anything like that, or whatever else is up there. I don't want you doing it too hard where you might knock something off of a table or anything like that. Okay, so please make sure that you are always thinking about being safe. Make sure that you have your adult with you to check to make sure that whatever you're doing is safe and that you have enough space to do it. Okay? If you don't, you can always change and modify it a little bit so that you are being safe. Okay? When you're done with this, if you want to try it again, go ahead and start it over, try again. If not, remember, I want you to end with those stretches. Okay, so when you're done here, go back to the lesson, do the stretches, and then fill out that Google form at the end. All right? I'll see you next time.